starting room again.
I don't believe it's my computer or the speed of my computer or the bandwidth. It doesn't seem to be, because it's steady and then suddenly just hit 0 and then it would come back and be steady. I don't believe my internet's derping.
Well, we'll just keep at it and see what happens.
The recording itself should remain smooth.
Now. Okay.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and go.
Volume.
There's another question here. I'm sure a lot of people are curious about this.
No, not that volume. There's a guy saying turn up the volume and the channel thing, and you just pause the stream or something.
So I'll go ahead and launch the next question. Have you got have
more
the Diggles?
There's a pot of coffee right next to you.
Just ignore those guys. Go ahead and the question.
You're not helping this interview right now.
Whatever.
It's fine. This is a lot of fun.
Continue with the questions.
Coffee will help the interviewing.
Have the Diggles been in the game from the start, and what was your inspiration for those?
Okay, I'll answer this one. So the Diggles, yes, the Diggles have always been in the game. They weren't always on level 1. They used to be that they'd only sort of show up on level 8, and then we put them on level 1 because they were cute, and then David sort of added more Diggles, and they just sort of spiraled off from there. They are not based on Prinnies. Everybody thinks that they're based on Prinnies from Disgaea. They are not based on Prinnies.
We love Disgaea, though.
We do love Disgaea, but they're not Prinnies.
Do you want to explain how, like, the thinking behind the monsters came up?
Yeah, so we didn't, this wasn't originally a Gaslamp project. This is originally something I've been working on for ages. And with another artist who is currently working at Blizzard and World of something, I don't know.
World of Blizzard Crafting.
World of Blizzard Crafting 3, Diablo. So he sort of asked, well, what sort of monsters do you want to do? And I decided I didn't want to have fantasy monsters of the usual sort, sort of, no orcs, no goblins, none of that kind of thing. So we sort of came up with other ideas. One of the big influences, there was a guy who had a website called Creatures in My Head, where he'd sort of draw a new creature from his head every week, and that was so that was good.
That's something.
Yeah, but the Diggles just kind of became their own thing. I'm happy that turned out well.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
People seem to like them and to like killing them, or in this case, running from.
Run from the Diggle! It hates you. It hates you. Okay. Ooh. Yeah.
Well, those omelets are very tasty.
Shortly.
He's forgotten about you. You've got a little bit of space.
A little more. No!
One of the nice things about this game, which you may not realize, is that it is turn-based, and so if something bad is about to happen to you, it's a good idea to stop and think.
That's the biggest mistake most people make when I watch them play. They freak out and start running all over the place, when really you should just stop and not click, like you say. All right, we'll go ahead and do another question. When it's time to code, is silence golden, or would you rather have some music to listen to?
Yes. So most of a lot of Dredmor was actually built while listening to Italian. What the hell is it called?
Fantasy metal.
Fantasy metal. Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
So Rhapsody of Fire is band I ended up hearing about when I think it was at my first job actually. And they just must have released Symphony of Enchanted Lands, because one of our...
No, it was actually your brother's co-worker got him into it, who got me into it, we just started playing it.
Yeah.
And all of their songs are basically about the land of enchanted dwarves and the last winged unicorn and Dargor, the Shadow Lord of the Black Mountain. And it's just really inspiring. It's very epic.
In a bad way sometimes.
In an epic way.
They actually have Christopher Lee, singing on one song about the dreams of wizards. It's incredible.
It was very inspirational to the creation of the game. I actually think that's why a lot of dwarven influences made it in spite of the ban on mythical monsters.
And Dwarf Fortress.
And Dwarf Fortress, of course.
But yeah.
So yeah, there is typically some manner of music, and it is often Rhapsody of Fire. Because they're awesome.
Yeah. If it's just me, I tend to listen to jazz. but I can understand that's not for everybody, and that maybe I'm a snob.
Well, we got some Thelonious Monk rocking sometimes.
That yeah.
But yeah, Rhapsody.
No one else likes Laybach.
Well, no, while we were in the German porn bunker, we actually had we sort of like traded off, like picking the music. And so sometimes it was industrial German metal, sometimes it was Italian fantasy rock, and sometimes it was jazz.
The next game will be coded purely to the music of Bauhaus. Bela Lugosi is dead.
That's the sound Sin makes when she's about to die.
That was pretty tragic, really.
It was pretty terrible.
Anyway. Don't get in this. Don't get.
And there we go. See, I called that one.
Welcome to Dredmor.
I'm not doing random this
Well, she got
time.
far.
Well, see, now you've got a couple ideas, I think.
Yeah.
Actually, that segues perfectly to the next question.
The hardcore. Okay, go for it.
I understand that originally the game had a class system. When you switched to the current system, did you have a lot of trouble balancing the various skill combinations?
No, we just didn't balance anything. Next question.
David?
Pretty much, yes.
I don't think we ever had a class system, right?
No.
Yeah.
Well, no,
there was a proposed class system.
There was
at one
actually
point.
no. But the very first time we got in touch, or like that we touched Dredmor, there was some semblance of class, and then we ended up with the system of skills determining your character, and the skills actually tied well into like we had the system from the get-go of the warrior rogue wizard thing. I think one of the issues, and I'm sure David has a lot more to say about this than I do, but I think one of the issues was that the rogue skills didn't have a lot of gameplay mechanic attached to them, and so a lot of the crazy rogue skill, like actual gameplay mechanics, came out of trying to figure out a way to make rogues interesting and viable in Dungeons of Dredmor.
What were we talking about again?
I mean, okay,
Yeah.
like the skill balancing, warrior stuff is pretty straightforward, just weapon specialization and armor and all that. The magic schools, we should talk about that. I mean, thematically, we originally had
earth, fire, water, air, white, and black magic. We decided that it was boring, so now we have fleshmithing and golemancey.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a better place for it.
We were trying to crunch out a beta at some point, and then, I'm like, we should change up the magic. I have this horrible idea. And then we had to do it, so threw all the spells away, and then...
Yeah,
a couple of them stayed, but yeah, at that point the feel of at least the wizarding in a large part the feel of what is now Dungeons of Dredmor really came out, because the design sort of shifted from the classic ideas to more of a
new wave,
irreverent homage to what dungeon crawling could be if it wasn't what it is.
I mean, some of them are just based off what would sound funny, like Math Magic. I had no idea what it would do.
That's from Donald Duck.
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's Donald Duck in Math Magic Land.
Yeah, haven't you ever seen that?
I had not seen that before.
Yeah, no,
Nicholas
and I
basically
basically we've had conversations about this. I think you thought that we were kidding.
It's a real thing, really. I mean it.
Well, that happens a lot.
Anyway,
Anyway, balancing is mostly through the beta and just sort of sitting down and thinking about it, but it's really the beta players that we got breaking the game. And a lot of them are goons from Something Awful. We recruited a lot of the testers there, and a few from...
Yeah, we had a wonderful and horrible goon army. It was great.
We're doing that for the next game.
That was good, yeah.
That was very good.
But yeah.
Speaking of
Jedi Master now descending into the dungeons of Dredmor. Force is gonna put a cork in your ass.
Speaking of testing, what was the most difficult bug to track down, and how did you finally find the solution to it?
There's been a lot of really crafty timing issues, and we came up. Oh no, the race condition.
Oh god, the race condition.
Yeah, it's a kind of a lame technical thing, but it was a really interesting bug if you're into programming.
Or races, or conditioning. Basically, at some point, just before Dredmor shipped, we made a harmless little change to the music player so that the audio wouldn't skip, or so we thought. And then we released the game, and the game just sort of started randomly crashing. And that took us 2 patches to fix, because the first patch, we fixed the race condition, and then exposed another bug in our audio library that had been around since 2001, at which point I swore a blue streak, and then we fixed that. And now the game seems pretty stable, and I watch as we say this, and the stream crashes.
Yeah, so there was that. There was and there are still timing issues, which are an interesting problem when the user interface is obviously very real time and the game is very turn based, and getting it to making sure that the turns start and stop at the right times is actually a little bit trickier than it sounds. But that's still something that we're working on for this patch as well.
All right. Another question for you. Let's see. Oh God, hang on. Here we go. If you can only afford one item, would you buy booze or cheese?
Booze.
Booze.
Booze. Oh, are you talking about in-game?
Either one.
I think my answer wouldn't change either way.
Well, it depends on your character build, really.
This company runs some coffee and alcohol, also occasionally peyote, during our sacred Gaslamp retreats.
Hey, yeah.
That's where the best ideas come from, I bet, right? The most unique ones.
Yeah, there was a bottle of very peaty scotch that didn't last very long, and then someone ended up in someone's bathroom the wrong way up.
That was me.
But I think that there was a lot accomplished there.
It keeps happening.
Yeah, David's the quotable David Baumgart. David once noted that it's not a real company meeting unless somebody's violently ill in my bathroom the next day. So
it seems to have held true ever since.
Surprise, surprise. And then there was the cigars.
Yeah, apparently.
No.
Oh, yes.
Don't smoke.
Smoking is bad.
Yeah.
Smoke marijuana like real artists.
We don't officially condone the smoking of the marijuana.
The chronic hashish.
Yeah, I'm here to make sure that we are not legally destroyed during this interview.
And now an important safety message from David the anti-drugs diggle.
It's a little puppet, but you don't need to use your hands because the diggle has no mouth, only a drill.
Hi kids. Now my nose may look like a joint, but I'm here to tell you.
Okay. Yeah, that got weird fast.
Yes. We don't really smoke drugs.
No.
Maybe we should hop to the next question.
Possibly a really good idea.
It was about booze or cheese, and we went into all sorts of other types of substances. We'll go ahead and take a question from the Twitter. This comes from Household Gamer. What unique tips do you have for getting through Dungeons of Dredmor?
None of us can actually beat the game anymore. We're the wrong people to ask.
I'm working on it. I'm on like floor 6.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. So my strategy, and I'm not sure. Like, there are people who have actually beaten the game who are much better at giving hints and tips for this. My strategy involves using Promethean magic with blood magic, because blood magic gives you mana back every time you kill something, and Promethean magic basically kills lots of things but costs lots of mana. Yeah, it's gonna get nerfed.
It's getting nerfed.
Oh, it got nerfed.
She's got a skill. Take the second vampirism skill. You're gonna die.
It's what I did.
Yeah, that one.
What I did.
Good. Well, the stream's lagging a little, so. Yeah.
Oh God.
Anyway, yeah. So
there we go. Okay, we're safe.
Yeah. I think we're a little bit behind, but that's cool. So yeah, Promethean magic and blood magic is a good combo. Also, alchemy is underrated because you can basically turn one pear into a bunch of pear brandy, and you can stock your liquor cabinet in your inventory very effectively.
It's more of a liquor.
If I were to give some advice, it would just be careful, and in every situation, you probably have more options than you think.
Yeah,
definitely.
If you
Also,
take it slowly,
invisibility is invaluable.
Yeah, invisibility is good.
Amazing, yeah.
Math and Magic has lots of really good support skills. Which one is Crystal Healing? Is that Math and Magic?
No, it's
or is that
psionics.
Psionics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
So,
or is that?
yeah,
No, that's astrology,
so
isn't
the
it?
support classes are really useful. I find. Yeah, you're not using your healing corpse drinking. Come on.
My what?
Healing.
You can use
The
that
thing
second
where you
vampire
click on the
skill on
corpse.
corpses.
Yeah. Also, there's a
Oh.
laser wand. That's pretty.
Wait,
good.
like that little skeleton
You
thing?
want the laser one, that's
Laser.
good.
Yeah.
The Elder Wand?
Laser wand. We should have. Why don't we have the Elder Wand?
I don't
We
know.
will have the Elder Wand.
The Elder Laser Wand is actually a
Patch
flashlight.
1.0.5.
How do I suck his
Yeah.
blood?
If you have the skill selected, you just right-click on the corpse.
Oh yeah, okay, you gotta select the skill in the lower right. You left-click to select the skill,
Yeah. So you kill.
and then right-click somewhere to use it.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit behind her, so she's probably figured this out by now.
I haven't.
Let's go ahead and we'll go on to the next question. This one's from myself. I never seem to have enough booze. Would you consider adding a way to expand the size of the inventory so I can carry even more alcohol?
This is a common problem.
This is a common problem.
Oh, in the game, right.
We've
Part of it is knowing what booze to stack and using the distilling to make more effective booze out of your less effective booze. I guess that's only if you have alchemy skill, though. I mean, okay, in terms of inventory, everyone wants a bigger inventory, but that's part of the game balance, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, actually, inventory management is a skill that most games make it too easy for you. Maybe a way that you could just, you could have, you could craft bags or something to store more items. But there are plenty of slots. I realize there's so much room in the bottom left, and then plus the inventory itself.
It's a matter of like knowing what
Not like
is
that.
valuable to keep and what you can just ditch or turn into loot fisk.
Speaking of lutefisk, I've been told that lutefisk is a real food. Have you tried it, and does it taste as terrible as it looks?
Daniel?
The only one of us who's tried it is actually Daniel, and he says it is as bad as it sounds in game, if not worse. Also, he's just wandered off because somebody just showed up at his office apartment with scotch. Daniel, can you get the door, please? Thank you. Right, now then. So, yes, people just actually show up here with alcohol. It's good.
Oh, to sell stuff, you can open your inventory and hold down shift, or you can drag items onto Brax, the sales demon. Or something.
So I'm really curious, who was in charge of creating all those hilarious skill and item descriptions, or was it like a group effort?
That was... Skill and items was largely me, but Nicholas did a lot of the other writing as well. I mean, we sort of bounced them off each other. Are they doing an alcohol run or something?
The what?
The question is about the skill and item descriptions. I think those were largely my purview.
Yeah, I think I know I did the monster descriptions.
Yeah, and the level up
and then
notes and
then other stuff. It was all sort of fairly communal. I mean, I think that the slightly drier stuff is you, and I think that the slightly wetter stuff is, if that's the term you can use to describe humor, is humor wet.
sure.
So, yeah. Can I do?
Can I do a stuff? What? Oh yeah, you can use both at the same time.
Yeah, you can totally do that. Yes. There we go.
So tell us a little bit about what it's like to be an indie game developer in today's game market, and what tools can an indie developer leverage to compete with the large publishing companies?
We have money fights and drive gold-plated Ferraris.
Dispute resolution is handled in the pit. We have knife fights.
You have the two people, they tie their arms together, other hand holds a knife, and then you fight out, like, whose idea will get implemented.
I sit on the throne, some sort of...
The throne of judgment, yes.
Yeah.
Actually, you're poor a lot, and it's pretty miserable.
Yeah. Kids, just become doctors.
Good advice, I guess.
The thing about...
You gotta admit it's fun, though, right?
Oh, yes.
It's suspiciously like real work at some point. I think that was Nicholas's line.
Yeah.
Like, there's the fun part, and that's a small portion of it, but then you have to actually finish the game and polish the game.
It's from the island of Skye. It's 12 years.
So, yes, 12-year-old Whiskey just showed up here in the interview chamber. I don't know how, but this is magical.
It's my birthday.
Oh, yes, that's right. It's Daniel's birthday. So everybody wish Citizen Daniel happy birthday. And
Hey,
thank
happy
him for
birthday.
thank you for taking some time out of his birthday celebrations to apparently get sozzled on 12-year-old Telescope with us. Ooh, God.
Well, happy birthday.
Well, thanks very much.
Ooh, I can taste the colors. Ooh. Yeah, that's
So it's a special
that's pretty-
interview. It's a birthday
Yes.
interview.
Well, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, 40
Oh, look at all that love in the chat.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome birthday spam. Keep it coming.
Yeah, here we go. And the scotch is pretty good. I can say we drink a lot of scotch as a company.
Yeah, we're basically like Mad Men, but geekier and without the ties.
And the secretaries. We don't have this.
Maybe one day.
We're working on it.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I had to step out to receive a birthday present, which was the scotch. What did I miss?
Not much really. We just sort of-
You have to talk about the experience of eating lutefisk.
yes, yeah, that was the thing.
Okay, so lutefisk isn't quite as bad. Oh, thanks very much. How do I eat, you damn green thing? Pick it up,
You
put it
can't
in your
stand on the
inventory, and then
corpse and eat
right-click
it.
on it.
No, the green thing is a diggle.
Oh, okay. I don't know. You can't pick that up. Although that would be pretty awesome if you could haul around the corpses.
You gotta be next to it though. So yeah.
Okay,
that's
so
good.
lutefisk isn't actually as bad as it is described in the game, but it is not an altogether enjoyable experience. It's got
Right click to
it's-
eat it, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Right click.
Takes her a bit.
Is it
She has to
selected? It
kind
is
of
selected.
absorb.
Maybe because it is sickly, it is not fit for consumption.
No.
You have to click
Yeah.
on the square in which
On
it
the
died.
square in which it died. There we go.
There we go.
Huzzah!
Huzzah. Yeah,
I realize it's
basically.
probably too early to say, but have you guys decided what type of game you want to develop next?
Should we talk about that?
It's kind of yes, sort of, but we're not comfortable talking about it yet. I think the code name for the project. Oh, I haven't actually told David. David, I've decided that or Nicholas and I have a proposition that our code names for our unfinished project should be named after elder gods. So this one is going to be Project Odin, if that's cool with you.
Odin isn't an elder god. He doesn't have tentacles.
No, but he
Wait, so
fights
we
the
heard
elder
it
gods.
first? Are we the first people to hear about it?
Frost giants are not elder gods.
I just heard about this, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Can we
Project
call
Odin?
it Project Odin?
He just wants to call it Project Odin. It doesn't actually have
He can call it Project Odin.
Project
Yeah,
Odin
so-
first
So,
heard
so
on
we have
CubeTubers.
a concept for what Project Odin is, but until we are sure whether or not it can actually be a fun thing, we're not really talking about it.
Totally understandable. That's why I figured it was early. No, I was just curious. A lot of the Twitter questions related to what the next project would be, but I figured it would be too early to say anything really.
We
got a more
Dredmor 2.
We managed to do well enough with Dungeons of Dredmor that we are very happy to have the opportunity to make another project. So thanks to everyone who bought the game. You are allowing us to continue making insane games that hopefully you will really enjoy.
Yeah. We hope we have learned the lessons of what makes Dredmor good well. I will say that I think people, since we seem to have picked up a lot of like Minecraft and Terraria people, there is a tiny touch of that, but not too much in what we're proposing. So I think we decided today we had to add sheep and pigs to the game, because now with Minecraft everybody expects sheep and pigs.
Yeah, we have to make it comfortable by adding sheep and pigs.
And then we make it uncomfortable by adding like Mygo and Fungus and Yuggoth and the King in Yellow and all sorts of other ridiculous things. So that's about as much as I'm going to say about that.
So yeah,
Somebody play Cassilda's song now.
let's not.
Let's not. Okay, let's not play Cassilda's song.
We don't need to hear about the King in Yellow right now.
How about the Nespertian hive mind?
If you are interested,
Of course, we've got the... Go ahead.
get out. That's all I had to say.
Yeah. Actually, the King in Yellow is a pretty big hint.
I knew, you
Okay,
had
so-
to know it was coming. The eyebrows question is here. Considering the
Amen.
player's huge eyebrows, is it possible that the player once had a huge mustache also, and that it grew so large it took on a life of its own and became the first mustache golem?
What's
We
an idea
cannot
for an
really
expansion
speculate.
pack? Or sorry, the mustache pack. You get a new item slot.
You wanted a pack of combat hair pieces.
Well, maybe we'll finally, maybe the cod piece will finally make it in as an item slot.
How horrifying!
Jeweled cod pieces.
Death is about to
This can be
happen
done.
now. This can be done. Jeweled cod pieces.
Did we answer the question?
Not really.
That's okay.
I think you should try to justify the eyebrows at this point.
They're sort of a symbol of power in many cultures.
I killed
Definitely.
myself.
It's like Samson.
Wizards have large eyebrows. Russian politicians.
Yeah, there was one Russian politician that was very. And another death.
Okay, so that's, how many is that? 2 or 3 so far?
2 deaths.
Okay, well we expected a dozen, so you're still doing very well.
You're way ahead of the curve here. Yeah, that's good.
Anyway, yeah. So the eyebrows really just came out of David's twisted.
Well, I could answer that.
subconscious.
Okay, let's see. Part of it, the character did have large eyebrows because he's a small sprite, and just to make it expressive, you had to, give him large eyebrows. Partly, I don't know. I kept drawing them larger, and then we'd joke about it, so I just made them larger, and it was funnier. So it just kept happening.
It's like those really annoying repetitive scenes in Family Guy. If a little bit of it is funnier, a lot of it is much funnier.
That is, if you like
Yeah.
Family Guy.
Or no,
I personally love
I don't know
Family
if that's it's an attempt to.
It's like the Sunshine Boys. Words with a K in them are funny. Pickle has a K. Pickle is funny.
Anyway, yeah, we don't really know. It's David's fault.
Everything is David's fault.
I was also drawing a gnome around the same time for a different game, and it ended
Oh yes,
up
the
having large
Jiggy
eyebrows
Gnome.
as well.
The Jiggy Gnome. I remember
Yeah, the Jiggy Gnome.
That was fantastic.
That was a great character concept.
Yeah,
I really
I
appreciate
didn't
that.
realize. I remember this again a long time later, and at the same time as doing the original Dredmor paintings, I was drawing that Jiggy Gnome.
Drawing that Jiggy
Maybe the
Gnome.
next game should have Jiggy Gnomes.
I don't know where they would fit in, but whatever.
We'd have to license that IP from this Polish guy.
We'll have to get in contact with him.
Apparently gnomes are a big thing in Poland. You have
Yeah,
to
gnomes
have-
are huge in Europe. They love gnomes.
I actually have some pillowcases that are from Italy that say "I heart gnomes."
Wow.
True story.
Daniel,
They were a gift,
that's awesome.
and I couldn't say no.
Should
Sure.
have said gnome. Right. You know, we should answer some of these Twitter questions.
Yes, we definitely should.
We should answer.
Oh yeah,
some of
bring
these
it.
Twitter questions. Okay.
You guys can pick some if you like.
Yeah. Okay. We'll just hang out here. We did the next project. We did the next project stuff. Do we like mudkips? We did that tip. Okay, the multiplayer version. Yeah, Dredmor as a game is not really set up for multiplayer because it's turn-based and that would be awkward and weird.
Yeah,
we don't know how to do it.
It'd be like, you know how when you play Civilization multiplayer and or Heroes of Might and Magic, and you have to sit there for 10 minutes because the next person is going and getting a Mountain Dew and they haven't played, and so it's basically in spite of the fact that it's an amazing game, it's the worst LAN game ever because it's the game that you're playing at 2 o'clock in the morning and everybody goes to sleep because they're just tired of it. It'd be like that, except every time you took a step, people would fall asleep. The mechanic just doesn't translate well. We really wish it did, and we've actually had a number of conversations about, you know, how we could effectively like maintain the feel of Dungeons of Dredmor while making it a cooperative experience, and it just doesn't work. We really wish it would, but if there is a way to do it, we have not yet found it.
Next game, multiplayer.
Yeah.
We're committed. Next game will have multiplayer.
Okay, so let's find another Twitter question.
What other roguelikes inspired you to make DoD? We've answered that one in other interviews. Nothing answered again. How did you start making games? I want to make games. I have no idea how to start.
That's a good question.
That's a good question. So I can only talk about this myself. I started programming, as I said earlier, at the age of 5. My uncle, who was mad, had some interesting ideas about how to amuse a bored and intellectually precocious 5-year-old at a dinner party. So rather than shove me in front of a television or something, he actually put me in front of a 286 computer with Turbo Pascal 5.5 on it, for anybody who remembers that, and sort of showed me, you know, this is how you make it read input, and this is how you print text, and I was basically hooked. So I think that honestly, you just get started making games. You have a concept and you sort of flail away at it, and as time goes on, you will
you basically
get better.
Yeah.
You have learning experiences.
Yeah, you just have to make sure that your motivation for making games is stronger than the frustration you feel at learning how to write games, because in spite of the fact that they all, like, any game that you play, if it's done well, seems very simple, very intuitive, and that there's not much to it. But there is a lot to video game design and video game like programming, and you just have to make sure that you're motivated enough to work through that, which is it is a difficult thing to do. I mean, there are a lot of aspects of making video games that are not, you know, they're not the glamour that you expect. But as long as you keep that in your mind, and as long as you enjoy the process, then you just basically stumble through it.
Who's the guy in the chat who asked if this was Terraria? No! Well, maybe.
Yeah,
It could be Terraria.
It's basically the same thing except top down instead of side on.
Also, less Final Fantasy sprites.
Yeah, unfortunately.
We can do that. So, David, you're going to have to make the...
we need, what is his name? Golfa, or... I don't know. I've been playing Final Fantasy 3. The old guy. The time-traveling... no, not time-traveling. He travels dimensions. He's got a beard. Galef, yes,
That's
that
Final
guy.
Fantasy 5.
I can't remember what numbers they are.
Yes, we're sort of half-assedly answering questions here.
To make games, let's see, you need one of 3 skills. Coding, art, or having lots of money.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It also helps to have as many skills as possible, especially if you're doing an indie game, because there is a lot of stuff required that is not just what you'd expect. I think one of the reasons that we managed to create this game, one of us has like a main skill, and then we can also do other things that are required, and so, you know, having
so it's
people,
like we're multi-classed.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, we're hybrid characters.
I'm a paladin, who's also a dwarf. Okay. fine. We'll take a question from chat here. Dark Gamer 2425 asks, "Who is Krong?" So we can reveal this one. Krong is actually, the name is taken from an old Usenet joke, actually, from like 1980 something.
We were channeling a lot of Kron too.
Kron, yeah, Krom and Kron and Kron.
Well, there's Kron,
Yeah, like whatever the Conan one was. There was a lot of inspiration for Kron.
But Krong is actually apparently Krong is the noise that an anvil makes when it hits you on the head, according to the Usenet group Talk.Bizarre. So there you go.
Yes, and he is the god of anvils.
Yes, he is the god of anvils. Any other interesting questions here? Yeah. Who says the world is cheap? Buy it on Steam. It's not us, but you know.
It is a great game.
It is a good game.
And the guy who made it is also a great guy.
And I did the Steam packaging. Yeah. There is a hidden cake room in Dungeons of Dredmor. Any more questions about cake? We can't answer them.
It's hidden.
There is a hidden cake room.
Yeah.
There is a hidden cake room.
It did happen.
It did happen.
I've got another question. It's not about cake.
Fire away.
Have you guys ever considered adding an option to randomize the icons and names for potions at the start of the game so the player would have to drink them to discover their purpose?
That actually was the first system.
Yeah, we had it at some point.
We've gone back and forth twice on that, haven't we?
Yeah. There was even a point at which some potions were stable potions, because like the argument is, on the one hand, it's a really interesting gameplay mechanic to just see a red liquid and to have to figure out to associate the red liquid with whatever it does. But on the other hand, it's a very difficult thing to add unique and exciting content when you have to randomly generate all these things. Like, you couldn't have the great Aqua Regia descriptions and things like that that David has painstakingly researched and drawn and stuff.
All of our alchemy is actually authentic alchemical tradition.
Yeah, it's real stuff. You can look up Aqua Regia on the internet. Yeah.
I myself crafted the Philosopher's Stone in the bathroom the other day. Also,
that explains a lot.
Yeah, also mercury drinking, not a good idea. But
with the potions, you have to make them generic if they're going to be random, but if they're generic, then they're not funny, so that's a big problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be entertaining to add it back in as an optional mode, and we can think about doing that for patches. There will be patches.
We could do some additional random potions, maybe. I mean, we'll get to all this stuff, maybe.
Yeah, there are lots of ways we can do it. It was also a thing, like, the question has also been asked, you know, there are recipes within Dungeons of Dredmor that are hidden recipes that you only find by looking in bookcases. And they're static. I mean, they don't really change, and so if you like write them all down on a notepad or look them all up in a wiki, you don't need to have discovered them in order to be able to craft them. And that was again a design decision where we were thinking about it, and it was one of those things where a lot of the recipes were painstakingly crafted by Mr. Baumgart to be as authentic as possible. And if we randomized the recipes themselves, then, you know, it would take away some of the charm that is, you know, if you find bauxite, you get, was it iron out of it?
Aluminum. It's a grudging source of aluminum.
Exactly. And bauxite is an actual source of aluminum, and so there's a depth to that you just can't generate with those random crafting systems. So
I really like the Dwarf Fortress sort of real geology thing. So I had to take that and run with it.
Definitely.
Yeah. We actually got an email from real geologists that sort of go, "Speaking as a real geologist, it's refreshing to find a game with real geology in it. Please continue to educate people about the value of geology."
Yeah, because he was like, he had seen things where I guess you just had like a rock and you turned a rock into diamonds or something, and
the rock is now diamonds.
Yeah, he just the authenticity, I think, is something that even if you don't really think about it, it's just a crafting system, and you know, you can get whatever you want out of it. But if you spend half the time that you're playing Dredmor on Wikipedia, you'll actually learn some really interesting and cool things. One of the moments that was actually, I mean, David spent a lot of time coming up with very engaging stuff for Dredmor, and one of the things that actually was pointed out by Ben McGraw, who has been associated with this project for a long time, that I didn't know. I actually looked this up. Aqua Regia is a real thing. It is a real acid, and it is one of the strongest acids that has ever been devised in reality, and it's one of the only acids that can actually dissolve like gold and platinum and stuff. And there was a really cool thing on Wikipedia where there was this German Nobel Prize winner during
Deagle attack.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Okay, so there was a real German Nobel Prize winner who won a Nobel Prize during, I think it was during World War II, and Nazi Germany didn't want him to have it, and so one of his assistants dissolved the Nobel Prize in Aqua Regia so that they wouldn't find it, and then when the war was over, they actually distilled the gold back out of the solution and recast it as his Nobel Prize. And so there's just a lot of history there that is, I think, one of the things that makes Dredmor so fun is that there's a lot of depth to it, and again, you just can't really get that kind of thing out of randomly generated stuff.
There's still some mystery to it, though, even without the randomness. The first time I got alcohol poisoning, for instance, it said 100% alcohol, and I thought, I need some mana, so I drank it, and then I was in trouble.
Yeah.
Nice.
No questions will be answered in chat, just as we get to them. The guy asked, are there Fallout references? Yes, there is a Fallout reference. You'll have to find it.
Is there? There probably is.
I thought it was
The boots?
The boots?
No,
You mean
I don't
jacket?
Yeah, that one.
Well, that's from Mad Max.
That's
Fallout.
that's Mad Max.
Well,
That's Mad Max. Well, which is I guess a lot of the origin of Fallout. So there's that. I don't know if there's actually a direct Fallout reference. I think that like I really enjoyed Fallout. I think we all appreciate the franchise. Yeah. So if it didn't make it in, it's just because there are so many awesome cultural things that we would love to reference that it would be an impossible task to throw them all.
Actually, a good Fallout connection is the sort of Pip-Boy connection to the skill icons.
Yeah.
I remember the thought really early on, like little character doing all the things.
Yeah, that's true.
That was actually an influence. I remember we talked about Fallout 3.
Yep.
Yeah,
we
early on
that, which had the traits and things.
Let's see if Axe has another question for us.
I do, actually. At any point in development, did you guys consider having towns or wilderness areas in the game, or did you decide early on that it would be better to focus just on the dungeon itself?
Towns of Dredmor.
Well, it has been a discussion. It has actually been a discussion. We've talked about it a number of times, and the game, like I think the general consensus, and again, it's something that we talk about still, because we're constantly thinking about adding new content to the game. It's an interesting idea, but Dredmor at its core is a dungeon crawler, and it would really detract. Well, the ways that we have thought of incorporating it would really detract from what the focus of the game, which is basically like there's something about the urgency of being stuck in a dungeon with a bunch of diggles and mustache golems with only your wits to protect you that really is part of the core of the game. And if we added a town, then it would change the feel of it a lot. Is that?
Yeah.
Also, we'd have to draw a ton of new art. Well, I would, and I don't want to do that.
You would suffer. You would suffer. Okay, from the chat. How many times you spent to make this game?
How many times? We spent 1 million times.
I don't know
all the times were spent.
Yeah,
all the times
we used up all the times.
We had no chance to prepare, so we made our time. The guy asked about coding languages. The game is in C++. I did an interview with Game Career Guide, which is on their website, which you should just go read because that has all the technical nitty-gritty.
Yeah, if you're interested in how Dredmor was created from a technical perspective, the Game Career Guide interview is pretty good. But basically C++ and XML.
Yeah. Oh, and third death.
Oh no!
Nice.
You got further on that one.
Yeah, that was pretty trap death. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. And right in front of the Anvil of Krong too.
Yeah, the Anvil of Krong is often well guarded.
Krong is a fickle god.
Yeah. He makes you work for it.
He makes you work for it. How are we doing for time? Apparently there's some sort of a special guest.
I was just about to mention that when you said you used millions of times. We actually are running out of time. We got 5 minutes left for this interview. We got a surprise guest coming up next, and so before we get cut off, I just want to say I really appreciate you guys coming over and doing this interview with us. This has been a lot of fun for me, and I think it's been a lot of fun for the viewers. And you guys need to check this game out. I mean, it's $5, okay? And I've played over 40 hours. I know when I first became a gamer, when I was much younger, 40 hours was the best you could think from an epic RPG, and nowadays a lot of those have 60 or 80 hours of gameplay. But for a game that I only spent $5 on, I never expected to get this many hours out of it. So you guys need to check out Dungeons of Dredmor. It's on Steam, and it's definitely worth your time, even if you're not into the more hardcore games. If you have to, you can turn off permadeath. Just don't tell anybody you did, because it's shameful. But you can if you really have to. And we'll go ahead. I got one more question from me, and then you guys can take some more questions from your Twitter and from the chat. And so you actually were talking about the pixel art you'd have to do for towns and wilderness areas. So I actually have this question that relates to that. I think Dungeons of Dredmor has some excellent pixel art myself. How did you guys go? How did you go about deciding on the art style for the game?
Well, originally, the project was started in like 2005, 2006, right? And Nicholas got hired some artists to do various things. For example, all the original monster sprites are the original contracted artists. But then we picked up the project again in 2008, and that's when it came to Gaslamp, and that's when I started doing the art for it. And I basically looked at all the art and said, what can I do better? What can I do in the time that we have? Which ended up being a lot longer than we expected. And, I just started at one end and redid, all the tile, all the skill icons, UI. What's the question again about the pixel art?
What were your
direction? Influence?
The art of Boris Vallejo.
Maybe for the painting, actually, yeah. I mean, the over-the-top fantasy art with, rich colors, that's fun. But for the pixel art, I don't know, I did not do the monster sprites. That was a lot of, that was like Brian Rathman and Tim Wexford. So there's like a Monkey Island influence there. Some from
very strong
Quest for Glory.
Yeah, but it also seems that you took a lot of inspiration from those sprites in sort of the way that the game felt, and it was definitely there were a lot of other influences too, like the Doom title screen and that kind of thing.
Oh, that's fun, yeah.
All right, we've only got two more minutes, so if you guys if you have anything you want to say, or you have any other questions you wanted to answer, go right ahead.
Nick, you want to grab a question of some kind?
Yeah, let's have a look through the list. Yes, special guest coming up. It's some guy named Gabe Notch. I don't know who that is. I have no idea who the special guest is really. All I know is it's Garrick the anti-drug diggle again. Favorite floor? That's a good question. My favorite is floor 5, because floor 5 is the floor where it actually gets hideously nasty.
Is that the baths?
That's the one with the Diggle Commandos. So it's got invisible Diggle Commandos, things that steal your stuff, masked monsters that blind you.
Oh, that's the wooden fortress.
The wooden fortress, which is actually based on our old office space.
Yeah, our old office was actually floors, walls, and ceilings were all made of wood. And so that dungeon set is definitely an homage to what I've been referring to as the German porn bunker.
Something else.
Well, we should say thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
indeed. Yes. Thank you for listening to us drivel for an hour.
Yeah, we
Thank
hope
you
we
to the
have
fans for
entertained you in some.
Yes.
letting us make games.
Yeah. Thanks for supporting us. Like we have gotten enough. Like I think we've gotten enough support to to have some motivation or something to work with to make another game, and the support that you guys give us allows us to do that. Because really, I mean, I lost my train of thought. You guys help us make games, and that is awesome. And we are really humbled by all the success that we have had with the game, and that you guys really like it, or at least that most of you seem to, and that you don't seem to dislike it too much. We're sorry.
Well, thank you again, guys. Thanks again for coming by, guys. We really appreciate it. Hopefully, if you do have time at our next event, which may be 3 or 6 months or more in the future, but if you have time to come back, it would be really cool. If you don't, we understand. You're probably getting a lot of stuff. Probably getting busy with all this attention, and I think you guys deserve it. And thanks for coming down.
It's not easy racing these Ferraris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. This was a lot of fun.
Yes, indeed.
And thank you so much, guys, for coming.
How do we turn this thing off?
Thanks for dying on camera. That was actually really entertaining, and we
know you did better than we
things.
could expect.
Yeah,
I did good that third time around, but not so good the fourth. But I kind of died on purpose.
So stay tuned, guys. It's time for our surprise guest. And thanks again, Gaslamp. Had a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to briefly go offline, or we'll be hijacked. I'm not sure which. Be sure not to go anywhere, because we have a special guest arranged for you guys. And as far as the rest of you guys, if you guys want to go aside and we can keep talking, or you guys can leave, whatever.
I have to go clean the office today.